designed to compel students to do that. People used to say, my student teachers used to say, what's the magic penalty? What's the magic consequence? What's that one thing I can do that will change everything forever? Demanding students behave in certain ways is very different from teaching students to make good choices. If you have a little child who goes into the sandbox or take them to the beach for the first time, what are your concerns? Make a mess.
They're going to eat it.
They're going to eat the sand, right? What's in the sand? So let me tell you about my kids. My kids know I talk about them in all my seminars, okay? I got their approval. My oldest son, Max. When we had Max, he's the whole world. He's our first child. We're super excited. We live in the country. We have almost 4 acres of land. We have woods. We have a river. It's amazing. But it was amazing. And so we spent a weekend and we built this elaborate play set. As we are putting Max in the sand for the first time, we just put him in there. And inevitably, it's his first time experiencing sand. You know, he's like playing with it, throws it up, little gets in his eyes, a little uncomfortable with that, doesn't like it very much. And then he eats some. And then he makes a face and he's spitting it out and he's putting his hands in his mouth trying to pull the sand off his tongue. And he starts crying and he's like, help me, this is horrible. And so we say, Max, don't eat the sand. That's all he needs. He's done. He didn't eat the sand anymore. It's great. Jack comes along. Thinking, yep, here we go. First time Jack's in the sandbox. Throws the sand up. It's in Max's face. It's in his face. He doesn't care. He just shakes it off and does it again. Max is like, make it stop. It's getting in my eyes. Like, Jackson, you can't throw the sand. Yeah. Keeps doing it. Jackson eats the sand. Makes the same faces as Max. Spits, all the stuff. He's crying. He wants help. We help. So we're thinking, okay, got that over with. Jackson back in the sand. He eats it again. 2 weeks later, still eating the sand. See, Jackson had to be absolutely certain that it was never going to be good. Because he was holding off for the possibility that one of the times he put it in there would be an amazing experience. Right? I mean, I'm guessing. Why else would you do that? Right? I've asked him. He doesn't remember. He says, I'm independent, Dad. I make my own decisions. So, the point is, how many teenagers do you see? They will? Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, so TikTok challenges and dares will get teenagers to eat sand. But they're on their own, they're at the beach, they're playing. My point is this. People eventually figure out how to interact with sand in a very positive way. I can build stuff with it. I can run in it. I can pour it into other things. But eventually, I'm going to stop eating it because it's bad every single time. I introduce this with consistency. What if the sand did taste good? It dissolved in your mouth. It was like a candy. Now how many people still eat sand? A whole bunch. Right? Consistency can be captured in this idea of interacting with the sand. But not only that, because we know the sand's going to do the same every single time. Not only that, but the perspective of control versus character can be based on this image. Let students experience consequences, good and bad, based on their choices, instead of based on your control. You should also know, though, that I am a trauma survivor. And so this is another reason that I think I am able to reach students that some people have a hard time reaching, because I've been one. I have been the kind of kid who came to school after my father was out drinking late at night and came home and beat my mother up. And I wasn't sure if he was going to turn to my brother and me next. And for many years, I went to bed every night hoping I would wake up the next morning. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. Trauma literally changes the brain. It's biological. The brain does not function the way it did before the trauma. If you don't realize that, you're going to have a hard time doing anything else. Because a lot of the stuff that you start to see, responses that people have, and we'll talk about those in detail, have resulted from the brain processing things differently than it did before the trauma. And if you consider a single traumatic event can change the way the brain functions, imagine the impact of long-term exposure to trauma. This image is very powerful to me. If you're in that car and it's going down, what are you thinking about? Getting out. I have to survive. How am I going to survive? I'm going to die. I have to do something now. If a person's over here saying, do you have your homework with you? Seriously? You expect me to think about that? Do I have my homework with me? Do you know how low that is on my priorities? Ouch. They see school as just part of it all. How do we get them to see school as a different place so that they look forward to coming to us? That they look forward to doing the things we have them do? Because guess what? It feels good, whereas everything else feels horrible. I didn't even cough after I said that. If we can do that, we can make a difference, and we can start reprogramming their brain. Isn't that exciting? This is really hard. Because how do you treat these students differently? How do you know if a student is responding from a traumatic experience or just doesn't care? Right? So, I have this system, and it's called character-based discipline. The whole idea is, how do we build character? Character, one of the things about character is people who have great character are resilient, right? They can encounter things and be less likely to be negatively impacted by them. Ultimately because they feel they matter. I don't really like the term classroom management. I use it so everybody knows what I'm talking about. But the reality is, the image of me managing my students' behavior bothers me. I don't want to manage their behavior. I want to empower them to make great decisions. I want to empower them to value the things that I value that they don't value right now. I want to empower them to stand tall when everything's falling down around them because they're worth it. Fundamentally, what we do differs dramatically. Testimony. This is how you do it. Depending on whether we want to control students' behavior or build their character. Those two things are in contrast with each other. If you control students' behavior, you are limiting their ability to build character. Even if you didn't mean to. Even if they're compliant. Compliance is different from character. If you can make a connection with your students that helps them to look forward to your classroom, look forward to seeing you, you've done a lot. And over time, you can overcome a lot. Just fix everything. That's not right. But you can make a big difference.